Bottom right of the map, starting for Axiom, we have in red. It's actually like the top right. I'm mixing things up here.
Axiom Ryung.
Yeah, see, it happens. It's okay.
Well, Ryung is 0-2 in the group. His opponent is 2-0. So exactly the opposite scores for them. Bottom left of Neoplanet S, we have in blue the player for Quantic Gaming. It is
Quantic Center.
not a lot of games played in TVT in official matches. This is a young player, this is a newer player, former TSL Terran. He was able to win against opponents like Bjorn in the past. Also took out Fantasy in the up and downs. The last up and downs, that is, of course. But his opponent is one that is very, very strong in this matchup. Ryung is in his best matchup right now. In the TVT has a 62% win ratio. Took down a lot of strong opponents in the past, but recently struggling a little bit more. Didn't take a map against Flash in Code A, lost in the best of 3. Lost against Marine King 2. Can he today get his win and save himself the chance to go to Code S? If he loses here, he has no chance but to play Code A in the next season.
Yeah, this is really important for him. You know, he's been playing a lot of Heart of the Swarm, it seems like, based on, you know, just how Axiom was talking during their GSTL match. And I wonder if Ryung is going to be okay going into Code A mentally, knowing that he may have an advantage over some of the players there because he's been practicing so hard for that game. Whereas some of the other players who have been practicing only Wings of Liberty who fall into Code A are not going to have had that experience and might fall out right away.
What we have now in this game in particular is actually Santa going for the more aggressive opening. Oh no! I'm mixing things up so much. No, I'm actually not. We have the gas for Santa first. I'm not quite sure what's wrong with me, Wolf here.
Well, I don't know.
At first I actually looked at the production tab and I saw the gas and I'm like, oh my god, Ryung is doing it again. Then I looked at it and was like, no, it's actually Santa. And then when I was talking about it, I mixed the production tabs up again. Fact of the matter is, bottom line, Santa with the more aggressive build has the gas. Faster is going into his factory already, whereas Ryung is starting things off with a reactor at his barracks.
Yeah, he's going to do a reactor expand, it looks like. Going to give him the ability to produce a lot of Marines, get his command center up a little bit faster, he makes it on the high ground. And this gives him so many Marines to help deal with, for example, Banshees or a fast drop. He'll have no tech for the Marines, no combat shields, no stim, but he will have the numbers, and that's how this build works.
Yeah. Sen, on the other hand, he is going for this one base play with a Medivac and then the Marines and the Hellions, which kind of always does damage unless you really know it's coming. You are aware you have the units in the perfect position, and so far Santa has been hiding units at the front trying to do some aggression, and with the reactor that has been built, it means that Ryung's production was a bit delayed.
Yeah, there we go. SV leads the charge, but almost really nicely targeted by Ryung. Yeah, when you make a reactor, your production gets delayed, but then suddenly, once you have that powered up, you're golden. Oh, wow, Ryung sees everything.
Okay, this is really, really bad. He sees no double gas, he sees the starport, he knows exactly what's going on, and he will spread his units out accordingly. For Santa, this is the worst case.
Yeah, this is not good at all. And now Ryung starts his own starport. Center needs to do... he needs to change things up here. In fact, if I were him, I would almost... The thing is, you can't cancel your attack. You can't just not do it, because then you're going to be behind. But maybe he could stop SV production for a second to get a faster command center up. He needs to do something.
He's getting the command center now. He's just waiting for the minerals, but he needs to do still some damage. Ryung is already heading into a Viking. He knows exactly what's coming here. The command center for Santa is now being built on the low ground. He knows that it's not going to be it's not going to be helpful for him to build on the high ground and lose even more time for the mining, so he's going on the low ground right away. But can he actually do any damage at all with this drop? It certainly looks like it's going to be pretty tough.
I mean, his opponent has more Hellions than him, and the Marine count is there.
Now we can actually go into the main base. The units will caught a little bit of guard here for Ryung.
Yeah, but the Hellions are here. They're waiting. Even the Viking is out now. This has been pretty much a bop. He's swatting it down like a cat, sees a laser pointer on the wall.
At least he takes down the Viking. That was the important part.
Yeah, and that's a pretty cost-efficient trade. But now Center needs to catch up, needs to catch up fast. He is getting siege tanks out right now. and that's going to give him a slight tech advantage still, and he may even be able to use those.
But in economy, he's far behind. He's now building one SCV, whereas Ryung is already going into the double production. And now he's losing even the rest of his army here. This is not looking good for Senna at all.
Not at all. And, you know, the build that he chose is not always the best for this map because the rush distance is so far. Ryung has Hellions that are going to ignore the siege tank. Well, I thought they might. They could have ignored that siege tank. Yeah, ignore that siege tank, Hellions. You don't need to listen to him. Exactly. Poke at those Marines. You're going to get out just fine. And there's a third.
Yeah, third base. I mean, Ryung is so far ahead in this game right now.
Yeah, he's taking his gases. He's going to be able to add his own second factory and start making siege tanks. He's going into mech play, obviously based on the Hellions. You guys could tell it already. He's not making a single additional Marine.
And Ryung, with a win here, has still the chance to advance to Korea. He would put Center on the same score as Effort. And Effort actually has to face Shiny in the next game. So this is basically this battle that we expected to be between Creator, Effort, and Ryung. It's now between Creator, Center, and Effort.
Yeah. Well, look at the map control and presence, by the way, of Ryung. He's got 3 Marines. He's got 1 outside the natural, 2 at any major walkway. The only way that Center can do something that Ryung doesn't see is he walks all the way around the side of the map, which would be really weird. And in fact, the one Marine outside of his main would see it before that even happened.
Yeah. A huge lead in Harvesters here for Ryung, 43 to 31. And of course the additional command center. Army size, we have both of them on equal terms. The siege tanks and the siege mode, that's the only advantage that Senna has, and that's the one that he tries to run with.
Yeah.
He's trying to go for an attack here, try to be aggressive, because he knows, well, if I don't do damage now, if I don't take out anything here, then I might as well just leave the game.
The Vikings here are so critical, but not for air control, but actually fighting the Hellions. The only way he can win this game is to make this timing work right here, and right now he's pulling his SCVs, all of them, and he has to make this work. If this attack fails, the game is over. Nice siege up here. Ryung is looking like a deer in the headlights right now. He actually needs to deal with this, and he pulls his SCVs out. Tanks are siege though.
The tanks are siege, but here come all those Hellions with a nice arc moving in, and Center is dropping in supply, but so is Ryung. He's remaxing immediately, but yep, that's just way too much for Ryung. Center is losing his army here. Well,
that one siege tank, he will not be ignored. The Viking needs to land, I feel. I don't even know why the Vikings were in the air at all during this fight.
Army supply is dead even, but Ryung is
Vikings.
Ryung is once again ahead in the overall supply. And also, of course, in the worker supply, even on 3 bases now. Triple SCV production, triple mules.
Now, Ryung definitely has an advantage here, but Center is not going to leave the game just yet. He wants to try to poke at this CC. I feel he doesn't even know about the third.
Yeah, I think so too. And he tries to build a bunker here, but let's be honest about this. As soon as the double siege tank production for Ryung comes into play, this is too much for Center to deal with.
Yeah, all he needs is 1 siege tank on the high ground.
He can easily repair his command center by himself even more time.
Yeah. He's gonna lift it for now. He can't break out here though. He's gonna try it. The bunker does not finish, that's gonna let him break out. He loses a lot of SCVs here, but he's still ahead, and this is all he needs to do.
Yeah. Tank after tank is going down, all of them being destroyed. The Hellions moving out, trying to catch reinforcements. The Viking saving his own life like a coward going into the air. Moving back. Well, where's the honor? Dying for your friends, dying with them together, side by side. The Vikings just don't think that's a good philosophy.
No, Vikings are mercenaries, man.
They are?
Yeah.
That explains actually a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Well, these Hellions are... I mean, to continue the theme here, going to ignore the siege tank. And... yeah, I mean, he loses some Hellions, but he's got the production. He's got triple command center. He's 47 Harvesters to 33. I think Center just has absolutely no idea what he's dealing with here. Yeah,
he doesn't know about the third base.
He doesn't know. He's like, well, I think I traded okay. I'm going to start stem. No, that's not the case.
Blue Flame is coming up, siege mode, more siege tanks, the armory is on its way, triple SCV production, a massive amount of resources being harvested at the third base. Senna still has no idea of this. He's operating on the assumption that there are only 2 bases, that he actually traded quite well in the last fight, and that he has another shot here, but in fact, It's just Ryung preparing a push that Santa will never be able to hold.
If you look at the SCVs on 2 base if you look at Ryung's natural and his main and what he's seen like 26 SCVs, and if you look at the SCV count in total for center, he has like 30. So if he assumes there's no third base, it's actually perfectly reasonable for him to stay in this game. Because if you take the third base away from the equation, then yeah, he has the better economy, but it's just not that way.
Did you see the Viking here with the troops? I want to actually warn them. They have no idea that this is one of those trader Vikings that will just get airborne as soon as the fight is getting hot and heavy, and yeah, we'll just leave them and abandon them.
Yeah. Viking is not somebody to be trusted.
Yeah. Never trust a Viking.
Never let a Viking walk behind you.
Yeah.
Or fly behind you. Or sit in your living room.
Well, you can actually, well, okay, I would definitely not let him into my living room, but you can let him walk or fly behind you, but never count on them.
Yeah. I wouldn't even put him behind me. That range, and there's what, the javelin missile, is that what it's called? I don't know, I don't have tooltips on this computer, but I think that's what it's called.
Well, whatever it is, he has to make good use of it now. The Viking is once again airborne, and we go into maybe the last fight of this game. We have Ryung in a 40 supply lead in a Terran versus Terran. He has a 30 supply lead in army supply, and is of course way ahead in economy. He's getting all these upgrades now. And Senna now heading towards the third base. He still doesn't know about it, but he will find out soon.
Well, he knows it's there, he just doesn't know how long.
Yeah.
And this is actually just a tragedy. He's going to come in here and he's going to, oh, you've had this for some time now.
Yeah.
He's going to see that siege tank burst and it's going to get crushed.
There are the siege ups, and bada bing, bada boom, bye-bye Santa.
GG. He realizes what's going on.
Santa GG's. Ryung with his first win. Well played here. Really, really well done. Saves himself the chance to go to Codes. Santa, unfortunate for him, was not able to pull this off, but he's still on 2-1.
Yeah, both these players are definitely in the running now.
The beginning just didn't work out well for Santa. The opening definitely not in his favor.
Well, that was a pretty, it was a pretty close battle there in the mid-game.
Yeah.
That was almost enough units for Santa to overpower. The map being as large as it was really helped him out. If this were in Tomb Valley, for example, or even Zelnawi Caverns, like in the older days, this type of push would have easily won the game.
In this case, it didn't, so Ryung with his first win in the up and down groups, and Santa with his first loss. But we have two other players that are going to face off against each other now. We have another mirror match. We have a Zerg versus Zerg, the only one where Shine now has to deal with effort. For Shine, everything is on the line now. If he loses the next game, then he will be in Korea. If he wins, then he still has a shot. Effort, of course, wants to go 3-1, then he would be in a very good position to take a Korea spot. We're going to find out who's going to win the mirror match after a 5-minute break. So stay tuned, and we'll be back in a few here at the GSL Up and Downs Group B.